Yep, go right ahead, girls.
This is an absolutely lovely display of Fenton's dancing lady faces, both new and old. I see the crystal is an older one, the ruby is an older one, and the frosted crystal is an older one. And this frosted crystal is older as well. The reds, I believe, were done for Anne Fenton. Oh, for the gala. They were done for the gala here, okay. And the purple stretch, the purple ones, I believe, were done for John and Anne Fenton. And then the blue, the sky blue, I believe it was, those were also done for the gala here. And the Rosaline, and what I really like about those Rosaline in the back, every different style of top is included in the back. And I really like to see that. That's an awesome collection. Very, very, very
I
nice.
think the peach opal was part of that too.
The peach opal, exactly. Was that made for
Yeah, that's, for,
Hoga.
Hoga? Okay. Okay, the Heart of America glass collectors.
Carnival glass.
Carnival glass collectors, yeah. And there's 3 different top styles on that too, and 2 of them are limited. So very, very nice collection of the old and the modern dancing ladies pieces. And if I recall right, the new dancing ladies pieces were all, a new mold was made for all of those, that size, for the smaller size.
yeah, absolutely. They had to remake the mold. And you can see, and this is a great example where you can see the difference in the height between the old ones and the new ones. The old ones are a little bit, they're 9-inch, and I think the reproductions are 7 or 7.5, something like that.
It's my understanding that the molds of the original were used for the war effort.
Yeah,
Anybody know about that?
That's what they've always said, that a guard at, the night guard actually absconded with those and took them to the junkyard and for the war effort and for a little change in his pocket.
Oh, well, I haven't heard that much of the story, but I thought it was.
So it was done independently.
Yeah.
Janet, we were having a discussion last night on that blue color. I had thought they were robin's egg. Do you remember?
Sky blue.
It was sky blue. Okay.
Yeah.
Check your list of everything that's ever been made.
Oh, it's in our list. Thank you.
I just looked him up recently too, because I had a collector that came to me and wanted help with IDing something he thought was blue satin. And I said that mold didn't even exist when they were making blue satin in the 70s. And I had to go back through my files and look, and when the minute I found those, I went, aha, I know the color, it's sky blue. Because it looks a lot like the old blue satin when it's satinized. And then there's a gift shop piece back here. I think there's a couple of gift shop pieces in here. The cobalt blue with the white crest was a gift shop piece. And the pale green, the seafoam green, were those gift shop?
I got them off eBay.
Okay,
I think they were Hoga.
Hoga.
they may be Hoga.
There
But
was
they're not
another
ours.
gift shop piece.
The gift shop did a green with a blue crest.
Yeah, that's what I was telling her.
That's the
Key lime.
gift shop piece. It's key lime
I
green,
got that one.
and they did it with a blue, and I think they did it plain, and they also did it iridized. So, beautiful tails, beautiful tails.
If anyone has a lid for the Burmese or the Fay Green, I would like to buy it.
If anyone happens to have a lid for either the Burmese or the fog green cover jars that are missing their lid, the collector would be interested in purchasing it.
Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like the old ones, you can find the urn base, but you can't find the lids. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow, she's recruiting people off the street now.
What was that?
I said, trying to get a crowd, you're recruiting people off the street.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else we need to talk about, Sue?
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right. You guys wanna talk about the satin inches here on John and Barbara's table?
This is absolutely fabulous. The satin hatches, for the most part, are a little less popular right now. And for the life of me, I don't know why. Because they are so pretty and so beautiful. It really is a shame that they're not more widely collected, that they're not more widely desired. The elegance, the simplicity, and the sheer beauty is just beyond me. The etches were made primarily in the 30s. You can see that they were done on lots of pieces. The 857 melon vase in the back, the Sheffield pieces, the covered dish, the 1562 canoe boat.
Yeah, the punch bowl with the underplate, putting that,
In the tote.
finding those together, yeah, wow. And, with all the punch cups, that's pretty unusual. I wouldn't bet there were 2 or 3 complete sets anywhere. And you touched on the Sheffield, you'll also find, like the bowl in the back in the blue color. You will see it not only in the crystal, but you will also see it in the blue. The Sheffield candy box here is probably one of the things that I find really unusual, the divided tray. Yeah, you just, those are things you just do not see. You just do not see those things. Very nice too.
Yeah, very nice. The canoe is just fabulous.
Yeah.
And the shuffle pieces as well, and that punch bowl, wow. Really, really nice table.
Where did they find the punch bowl?
John?
At a
Barb?
consignment shop.
Nice.
Really? That's,
Yeah.
I assume the underplate was with it at the time, yeah.
And punch cup. All
And
of
the
them
cup.
were about $30.
Wow.
Wow.
Nicely done, high five.
Yes.
I'll give you 40.
You're doubling my money.
Anything else we need to talk about, Barb? Because last year you kind of snuck on past us and we didn't realize.
I think you hit everything that's on that one.
Okay, okay.
I guess the only other thing is that's all silver tones.
Yeah, she's right, that is all silver tone. I couldn't see on this tray, but yeah, it is silver tone. Yep. Because they made silver tone, sand toy, wisteria, poinsettia, wild rose,
Halo.
snake,
Halo.
halo, yeah. So there's quite a few of that, the satin edges to collect, and
Yeah,
they're
no, so
really
you
nice.
can't, you just don't ever really see the halo.
No, the halo's very hard to find.
And, I think it's overlooked a lot, but I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, we've got a couple of pieces of halo at home.
What does halo look like?
It looks it's just kind of
It's
rings.
just the ring.
rings.
Concentric rings.
Range,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, we had pieces out here 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was a salad set, and it just was literally just rings etched in it.
Yeah.
It kind of, they're spaced in interesting intervals.
Yeah, we found the salad set in Rochester, Minnesota.
Right.
That's right. But those big bowls are not fun to tote when you're selling glass. They take up a lot of room.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, we're really good friends, and Sarah's husband, Tim, he loves going shopping with us. He doesn't care about the glass. He doesn't care so much about the glass, some of it he does, but he loves listening to us talk. Because what we're doing here is what we do when we're shopping.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true, yes.
Yeah. I'm sure people are walking around, what are those goofy people doing? Okay, Colorado girls in the canoes. I love the canoes. I've got several canoes at home, and it was an interesting shape because you got your straight up, and you got your open up, what I call open up canoes, and then when I first looked at this display, I looked at that over there, I thought, hey, that canoe on that table should be over here. But, cause she's a Colorado girl too, but
Well,
I
that's
wasn't
why,
there.
but Max, that's why they put it on that end.
And,
So
okay.
kind of, it's a segue.
Segue, okay, alright.
I used to do radio, it's segue.
And then, of course, the two little canoes. The little canoes are not terribly easy to find. We didn't own one till what, about 2 years ago?
Yep.
It was finally about 2 years ago we found.
And the amber and that aquamarine are probably the most, I hate to say easy to find, but they're the least difficult to find. Anytime I've been finding the small canoe ashtrays, it's either amber or aquamarine. In Tom Smith's book, he shows an emerald green and a crystal and a rose, and I have never, I mean, I searched for those ashtrays every single day. Every single day, and I either find amber or aquamarine. So those must have been the most favorite colors when those were being produced.
Yeah. And back on the bigger canoes, the moonstone, when we found our moonstone, I was just over the moon
Yes.
myself.
And I would say that that's probably the least common that's up there in the colors. I've seen more lilac than I've seen moonstone.
Yeah. There is mandarin red out there in the canoe shape. Someone would really love to have one. Tom Smith shows it in his book. I know where that one's at, and no, they will not sell it. I have tried. And then, of course, the Viking ship. So we're all about boating here. The Viking ship, this is one that they done in the 30s for Macy's, and they've remade it in 2000s, I think it was, when they remade it, and it didn't sell well, evidently, either time, because there's not a lot.
No.
Now, I say that, and then there's probably 3 or 4 up on the floor. Up on
And
the
two
second
next
floor.
to each other.
Yeah, but people that got them seem to want to keep them.
The Viking boat, I believe, was done for QVC.
With
With
the
the candlesticks, exactly. Yep, that color Viking boat, and I think, is that the only color one I believe that's the only color one they made.
that I know of. I mean, at that
Contemporary.
time, yeah.
Yes, I believe that's the only color one they made contemporary, and it's a fun piece, but I can see how it could be difficult to pull out of a mold with those heads on each end.
Yep, the sticky uppy
Yeah.
heads on each end.
Yeah, but it is a beautiful piece. I saw 2 up in the sale rooms, I think, and I saw at least one, and one has already sold up there, and then the 2 down here, you just don't see them. I haven't seen one for years, so people must be holding on to them.
Yep. So,
Oh, and-
Viking fans.
Viking fans, that's right, yeah, so it's Minnesota people, and Iowa people, there are some Viking fans in Iowa too. In the canoe, there's also Sunko known in the canoes, the Sunko treatment. And those are really gorgeous too.
Yeah, that's why I want the mandarin. So
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen one in Mandrill.
It's there.
I'm sure
It's
it
in
is.
Massachusetts.
Oh, then yeah, okay, I know who has it, okay. You'll probably get it eventually.
Sunko. Sunko is an experimental treatment that they done in the 30s. They take mandarin was the base color, and Frank said they tried, never could figure out how to reproduce it. The story goes that they took the mandarin pieces, put some kind of salts on them, and then packed it in clay and reheated it. And it comes out really splotchy, really kind of a different type of color. And it's extremely hard to find. They couldn't control how it came out. If I can find another piece, I will do a display table. I had a guy 30 years ago challenge me. He said, if somebody were to put together 8 to 10 pieces of that, that would be a major collection. I'm stuck on 7. And, the last piece that I tried to buy, Mr. Rhoda had it, and I bid an incredibly stupid bid on it, and somebody else was even nuttier than I am. But I wanted that 8th piece, and I just can't find it. If you come up and see us afterwards, I'm sure you've got pictures of it. Yeah. So it's a really different treatment.
It's a treatment that has a very green, white, blackish, reddish blotchiness overall effect to it. And if you just look at it, it almost looks like a ceramic when you see it. So, but come on
Like
up.
a splatter paint.
It is. It looks like
Or
someone.
sponge painting.
Yes.
Someone was, whipping out the paint from their brush, or it's not that attractive, but it's kind of like a bulldog puppy. It's so ugly, only his mom could love it. You know, it's so ugly, it's beautiful. So, come on up and we'll show you some photos in the books.
Okay, shall we go under the sea?
We should.
I feel like the Little Mermaid, or I guess I should be Eric, you're the Little Mermaid. So,
Okay.
This is another gorgeous table, all under the sea themed with the fish, and I really, really like these trout that are on a very unusual font. It's not the typical squared off Fenton font. There's 2 of the trout, and they've got a very rounded font, and I don't know that I've ever seen that font before, so that to me was very, very interesting. Again, the Viking boat with the pirate air, how cute is that? And there's a couple Fetty pieces up here. There looks like there's a Fetty fish in the front, and then there's an old 50s?
no, it's Fetty.
No.
It is Fetty's, okay, I was not sure if it was new or old.
And what Sarah's talking about is the white fish vase.
May I pick it up?
And the way that you can tell the difference between because the same basic mold was used for the body for the 1950s fish and the later Fetty fish. In the original fish, the tail always comes up and is pointed on both sides. And the original fish will not be cased. A white fish will always have a white interior and a white exterior. And they also made a black fish with a white tail, you got it? A black fish will have a white pointed tail and white eyes, and it will always be black inside and black outside. Dave liked to dress things up, and so he has the black interior, and Dave always made the rounded tail, so you'll always know that his new ones have the rounded tail, and I always admired him for that, so that his new pieces would be admired as new pieces, his own creation, rather than trying to mimic that old one that has a great value in its own right. His pieces carry their own value because they're his pieces, but the old pieces have their own value because they're those old rare pieces. And I admired him for creating that strong distinction.
Yeah, and, on this particular table, the blue is the under the sea and the white in the background is the sandy beach. And there's a jayhawk on the beach. Somebody must be a KU fan, huh? I don't know where we find one of those around here.
I don't know.
The Jayhawk is fishing.
Yeah, and then the
The lighthouse?
lighthouse, that's it. Lighthouse. Nice teamwork, keeping it all together.
I like the piece back in the left-hand corner on the gold, which I believe was a limited piece, may have been connoisseur. It's both carved and painted. And that was one of the first pieces that were among that, where they started doing a light carving and then adding paint to it. And I really like that piece as well.
That's the newer one.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, were these newer or older fish?
Yeah, you might hold up the one in the back. I know not everybody's seen the the original,
Packaging.
no, the one in the package, because most
Oh.
people don't find it still in the packaging. I had brought it to club one time, but
Yeah.
Oh, so it looks like you're taking it home from the carnival.
that's how they were
What
originally
a
sold.
wonderful idea.
Isn't that a great marketing?
Yeah.
Yeah, great marketing idea.
I remember taking goldfish home from the carnival.
Okay. This next one, I think I got an empty tote.
Home Depot's just down the road.
Yeah, well, there are some very amazing ginger jars on here, and one of the more amazing pieces, I know some people who collect ginger jars, but these all have the proper base to them. And you say, well, the base, that's no, well, yeah, that is a big deal. Proper base and the proper lids. The standard base has 3 toes, and they had it's a wide toe, wide foot, and they had a little piece that they could set in the middle and turn that 1 foot into 2 feet. And so they now call this a 6-toed base, and these 6-toed bases are hard to find, especially in the colors. The blacks are hard enough, but then if you want a jade or a crystal satin, yeah, that makes it even harder. So that to me is one of the more amazing parts of this. Love the mandarin red with the gold decoration. Just, wow. I'm a red kind of guy.
Well, my favorite, of course, is the jade lamp. Some of you probably remember me writing an article about having found a jade lamp. That was one of my unicorn pieces, and so I love seeing the jade lamp. It has a different cutting than the one that I found. I had thought, because the one in Tom's book has the same cutting as the lily cutting as the one that I had found. So it's interesting to see that this has more of the daisy cutting. It's interesting to see, I thought that perhaps they all had the lily cutting. It's interesting to see that yours has that daisy cutting, which is an immediately recognizable Fenton cutting.
Oh, yeah. And no bugs.
And no bugs. She's teasing me because mine had the metal at the top is open work, and there's probably 50 years of dead bugs down inside. And I'm still struggling to figure out how to get a long Q-tip down in there, kind of clean that out, but I'm not willing to take it apart.
Air hose of some kind and kind of upside down blow it out? No?
That's a lot of stuff floating around, yeah.
I take it
I'd almost
outside.
rather just leave them in there. But, anyway. Go ahead.
I think one of my favorites up here is this rose one that's right in the center with the etching and the block optic and the mandarin. I guess it's hard to choose a favorite. How do you choose a favorite when you have glass like that?
That's the only rose mead ginger jar I've ever seen.
I know, and
I've not seen that either.
it's truly stunning.
I keep wondering if they made one in amber,
Oh,
you know.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
But rose is another color that is, it's a color that's kind of like the etches. It's just kind of not real popular. You can find it, you have to know what you're looking for. But there are other companies that made a very similar rose. I believe it was Duke and Diamond or Diamond. Somebody made a very similar rose, and I picked up a covered candy box that looked rose to me, and I didn't have my stretch glass book. Picked it up for $4. It wasn't a big deal. But it was not Fenton. It turned out to be the Dugan one. And that stretch book is just invaluable when you're out shopping. I would have bought it anyway for $4. But I put it with my Fenton rose, but I need to put a label on the bottom that says the manufacturer. So someday when it goes, it doesn't get confused.
Yeah. Yeah, if you like old glass, like a lot of us do, the block optic, all the spiral optics, the satin etched ones, those are all, that's pretty incredible table. Pretty incredible. That's a lot of work right there.
Very nice. Hobnail, which was produced for a very limited time in, I believe it's 94?
93.
93.
6
Thank
months.
you.
First
Okay,
quarter
6
93.
months. Okay, do you want to talk about it a little bit? I always like it when collectors will stand up and talk a little bit about their table.
First of all, 70 years ago at the Gala auction, 70 years ago at the Gala auction, I purchased a punch bowl here. So you never know what you're going to find over there at that auction. So, and what you're going to do with it, a few years down the road. But that's what got me. Well, that's actually the second piece of the Rose Magnolia. Quick story. A year ago, Sunday evening, after getting all this stuff home from last year's display, I came up with the idea to start this year's display. And talked to my mother, and she said, well, this is my favorite color, why don't you do it? So this has been a year-long collection. Well, I had half the pieces. So, anyways.
Very pretty, very beautiful.
One thing that's kind of hard to correct is, take the mic please, is the light. You see it in the light, it looks pink. You shut the light off, it looks lavender.
Wow. Yeah.
On eBay or something like that, it's hard to, if the picture's, if it's not in good light, it's hard to buy a picture.
It's very hard to tell the difference, like what Chris said, or Craig said, between pink opalescent and rose magnolia online. When you see them in person, it's clear what the difference is. But online, it can be very hard.
We have problems with that on the Glass ID page.
Yeah.
Some of the blues and pinks are very, very difficult to tell exactly which blue or pink it is. Very nice table.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and once again, I like the way that Craig, because he's kind of got a history of this, if you look at the advertisement and look at the display, it's like he took a picture of it and there it is, but he's just replicating what Fenton done perfectly.
I was just gonna say the very same thing. I love how the display here is an exact mimic of the advertising.
I tried.
Yeah, it is very.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what Craig comes up with next year.
Exactly. The pressure's on.
I've already got next year's and the year after that started already, so.
Fantastic. That's great.
Well, it takes a while to find this stuff.
Yeah.
Gives me something to do.
Thank you so much, Fred.
Doesn't necessarily keep you out of trouble.
Usually gets you into it.
See how good.
That's right.
Isn't that cute? Yeah, it's good to be people, yeah. All right. Do we make fools of ourselves or do we just get Bobby up? Talk about it.
I think we can bob you up here. Beautiful table, by the way, just beautiful.
I don't need that. Most people probably don't know what this is, probably 80%.
Microphone.
You go get this.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you,
Really,
Bobby.
only you would call me out.
I know.
Just like the name tag. Most people don't know much about Ruble. And I wish Richard Dyke was here because him and I have been through so many arguments. It's not even funny. And it took us probably 6 to 8 months to collect this. It's pretty impressive. And Richard called me out because I wanted the very first set he told my wife, you'll never find these. They're stupid expensive and you'll never find it. My wife found it, got it on the table, I sent Richard a picture. He didn't like it. So then we started looking more and more and more, and found the bowls, found the heart bowls. Richard's still not happy with me. He started finding old cruets, old vinegar. He's like, you'll never find them. I found them. My wife found them. So it's been an ongoing thing with Richard. I wish he was here. And he's made one of the stands for me. Most people have never seen the 4 jam jar set. My wife found this in Canada for $40, free shipping. Nobody had ever seen that one, ever. Absolutely gorgeous. It's missing spoons, but I'll take it all day long. And they're made in the 50s, early 50s. There's a lot more pieces out there. We can't find them. Most people don't know what they are. We found some of these bowls in garage sales for 25 cents. I had no idea what they were. And then a good friend of mine, she called me up one day. She goes, I've got a piece for you. She wouldn't tell me what it was. She goes, I'm doing an article. I'm like, come on, Billy, let me know what it is. She's like, nope, I'm not going to tell you. So she did her article. She sent me the picture of this bowl. She goes, you have to have this. She goes, I've never seen anybody put together a ruble set. She goes, this is the sample bowl that's in her books. She goes, I want you to have it. I said, I want you to have it. It took me like 8 months to even get a picture of it. But yeah, this came from Millie, and we've learned so much. I hope everybody likes the ruble collection. So we enjoyed it. Like I said, most people have never seen it and don't know what it is, but it is Fenton for root.
The 2 crystal pieces, the oil and water bottles.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
The Lazy Susan is all crystal set too. We can't find it. I kind of gave up. We were lucky. I found these on, I don't remember if it
I
was like,
found those.
she put me in my place, didn't she? So anyway, we found these and we weren't sure, so we went ahead and we bought them. And yes, they're in the book. And they matched everything perfect. So there's only one set that I'm missing, and they're a gray, and they're smoked charcoal. Yes, ma'am.
What is the pattern name you're saying? We can't, I'm new, I don't know what you're saying.
It's a company.
It's
Rubel.
Yeah. Fenton made it.
R-U-B-E-L.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Ruble never touched these. Fenton made everything for Ruble, and they stored it, they kept the package, and they shipped it for Ruble. Ruble never touched it. Fenton did
It
everything.
was their mold,
It
Reuben
was,
mold.
yes.
It's not Fenton mold.
Yes.
Thank you.
But they never did it. Fenton did it all for them.
Thank you.
Marketing and everything. I don't know much else I can say about it. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I'm just wondering, what time frame was that made?
Mid-50s, early to mid-50s. And there's so many more pieces out there that we just have not found yet.
I have a question, Robbie.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Payton City also make some of the green?
Peyton
Rubel?
did. And I hate to say it, but if you look at the 2 green heart bowls, the darker one is actually Ruble. The lighter color is Payton City.
Thank you for pointing that out to us. I didn't really notice the difference until you had pointed it out. That's,
And on the
that's very
cruets-
interesting.
On the cruets, on the rubles, the stoppers are dead giveaway. They're totally different color.
Good to know.
So,
Good to know.
any other questions? I tried. We've learned so much about it in a short period of time that
How many different colors can you get and all that stuff over there?
only my wife would say that. Several, as you well know. But yeah, there's a lot of pieces out there that most people have never seen. We haven't seen them. We've been trying to find them, and we've been able to put this together in, like I said, 6 to 8 months. A lot of hard search.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
He said they put this together in 6 or 8 months. That's, you can't go by that. These guys are incredible. He's in a different world than the rest of us. That would be tough to put together in 6 to 8 years. 6 to 8 years, that's.
Or decades.
Yeah, or decades, yeah. You don't really see a lot of that out there. You see the heart mayonnaise set, you'll see it occasionally in the green mayonnaise set, but a lot of the rest of that you just don't see. And especially like the green set here, the condiment set, that's on a rotating table, and that one rotates. He showed it to me the other day, it rotates. Some of these bowls take a bearing and they will rotate like a Lazy Susan. So that's 6 to 8 months, that's nuts. I'm sorry, that's nuts. Yeah, it's Bobby Stanley. If somebody told me, you're crazy, you'll never get that done, but he did. They did.
And
Okay.
Christina had a pretty big part in it.
Yeah, I figured that out about a year ago. Yeah. So,
Now, can I pick up a couple pieces? Most of the glass you're gonna notice will have the spiral optic in it, and those were in Fenton's line. And then there are pieces that do not have the spiral optic in it, and those were made for LG Light.
yeah, this is another one that does not have it.
Yep, and there's a small round bowl down at the end that does not have it.
Yeah, this little cube is straight plain.
And that was the way of distinguishing pieces for Wright and for the Fenton line.
Yeah. The one exception to that's gonna be the flower pot. The flower pot was a Fenton product. And as you can tell, it comes in, obviously cramped, but there's the big tall vase here, it's got the deco crest on it, it's a nice smooth crest. There's 2 pinch vases in the back, they each have a different crimp to them. So you can find it in all different shapes and ruffles.
Love the flower pots and the big top hat. That big top hat is just gorgeous. I have a small collection of this, but I don't have all of these pieces. I'm still looking for pieces, and that flower pot with the white crest with the stone crest is hard to find.
Yeah.
Would you show the spiral up again?
Sure. Here, let me,
Yeah.
this is gonna be showing. It shows the spiral optic. You see how it's got a swirl to it? That's what we're talking about when we talk about a spiral optic.
You gotta have the black pot.
Okay, it's possible, got some of that plain so that they can decorate it. But yeah, I've wanted one of these things for years. Too cheap to put out for. Here again, just beautiful display, beautiful. I'd love to see a bunch of that in where the sun's located. Just gorgeous. Yeah.
Did you want to, I'm sorry, did you want to talk about your?
You guys go ahead. What is the,
Yeah, come on up here, Tom, this is.
Fenton introduced the turquoise in 1955. Fenton introduced the turquoise in 1955, and most of it was down the line by 56, 57. When they introduced it in 1955, they had 3 different product lines. They had the Block and Star, which is what the water sets in. They made it in the hobnail, and then they, and I don't have a piece here, they made it in the silver turquoise. So it was pretty well out of line by the end of the 1950s, but they brought it back in line, I don't know if it was the same color, but for the 1976, whatever, the hearts and whatever, for the 1976 for the barber collection. So I don't know if that's the same formula or whatever. And then I think up there on the big display we have the case lilac, which is the turquoise and the cranberry, which I think that was around in the 55s too. So, anyways, so like I said, the Morning Star, and you can also find the block and star in milk glass too. And I was gonna put some milk glass up here, but the table got full on me. You know, to me, the difficult pieces to find is the water sets. I looked high and low for the pictures on the water sets. The smaller tumblers are easier to find than the taller tumbler. One of the probably more difficult pieces you want to find is the hand base. That was put in 55, and I think that's probably when that mode came out, because they came out at the same time as the Black Rose. They had it in Black Rose, I think they just made a run in the turquoise. Then they also did it in the lavabo, turquoise lavabo. And the interesting piece to me for Fenton is the footed jam set with the two jam jars on it. Very, very difficult to come by if you're looking for it. It also comes in milk glass. The other interesting piece or whatever is the teardrop condiment set. Not sure what else you want to hear. Just ask a question or something. Make a comment.
The urn vase next to the hand vase, those two pieces are just incredible. I don't think I've ever seen them in person. The lavabo too, I don't think I've ever seen in person.
Yes.
I have a small collection of the block pieces, and I've just been looking for that footed stand forever, like 20 years, and did they just not make very many in milk glass?
Well, they probably didn't make very many at all, and if they made them, they didn't survive.
That's what I was
I
wondering.
would say, because that's a very delicate piece, wouldn't you say?
The turquoise milk glass showed up on Etsy, whatever you call it, 6, 7, 8 months ago, and I bid on it and got it and didn't receive it, or didn't receive it first. So after a month, I emailed the gal who had it, and she said she had a problem with the address. So I either told her to follow up with eBay or send me my money back. So she sent me my money back, and 6 months later, she had it on eBay again, or no, on Etsy, whatever. And she had it on eBay again. So I bid on it, and I got it, and she lagged on sending, so I sort of either send it or send me my money back. She sent me my money back. Other than the white one that I have, I also have the white one. Unfortunately on this, I had one box packed away with, 20 years or so ago, I moved from Kansas City to St. Louis, and I packed this up, and I had a box of this turquoise, and I must have mislabeled, but I couldn't find it. But I had another piece in it, which was the vanity set of turquoise. The little perfumers and little powders are in turquoise. And unfortunately, it's out there someplace, but I can't find it right now. So, but like, I also, you got to realize, this thing was put together back in the 80s and 90s. You know, when I got into it, you didn't have your, whatever you got now, your overlays and stuff like that. So this is, things that you collected back then. So anyways.
Whenever I was doing the book, the pastel colors was the hardest thing for me to find in the pictures of the book. You would have thought it would have been a lot of the real rare pieces and the colors with the pastels, they would make anything like they're out.
Were those pastels hard to find because they were still locked in collections?
What's that, huh?
Were the pastels hard to find because they were still locked in people's collections?
I don't think there was a lot of people collecting them. I don't think there was a lot at the time. I started collecting them just to buying them to get pictures of for the books, but I don't think a lot of people had turned loose those.
Right. And so they were still locked into other people's collections, and you just didn't know where they were.
I know at Riverfront in New Philadelphia, they had the Block and Star water set. I wanted that sucker so bad, but it was $350 at that time. That was cheap.
Yeah.
And it never did. I never did ever find one to get a picture of for the book.
Wow. Thank Thank you, Tom, I appreciate you talking about it. I believe we're looking at sunshine.
Is that sunshine? Sunshine? You wanna talk about that?
Nope, go ahead.
Okay, Topaz opalescent coin dot, 59 to 60, very pretty. I heard her requesting black lights, so obviously this is gonna glow. This is gonna just go crazy. But, so nowadays, it's extremely collectible. Let's see, there's one. There, that handle really lights up. Coin dot has always been a very popular pattern, and the topaz opal, you don't see it as much. They made a ton of cranberry, and even bigger load of flint opal, white opal. But this topaz, you don't see it as much. Got a nice stopper in the cruet.
It's not the right stopper though.
It's not?
I will admit, it is not the right stopper, because I got the cruet without a stopper,
Uh-huh.
so I bought an extra levee cruet to get the stopper for this,
Okay.
but it really should be a crystal stopper.
It should be a crystal stopper. Oh,
It
no.
should be.
I
But
like this.
I like it, and I'm gonna leave it that way.
That's right. I always tell people, if you own it, you can call it whatever you want to call it. You know.
And actually, the little bowl is the only thing that continued in the line for another year.
Okay.
Most of it was only a year and a half.
Yeah, because like I said, you just don't see that much of it out there. At least I don't see that much of it out there. Even before the black line craze, you just didn't see this stuff that much.
I got all but one piece on eBay, and most of it in 2 years.
What is it about you folks here in the Kansas City area? You just,
We're a little bit nuts.
When you want it, you want it now.
You betcha.
just put those collections together overnight.
I love the Ivy Bowl. I don't know that I've ever seen one in the yellow in person. So, okay.
I just looked every day for topaz opalescent coins.
That's pretty good. 2 years? Very
Most
good.
of it, all but 3 pieces in 2 years.
Wow.
And that biggest tall one on the left in the back, I just got it like a month ago, and then realized that I had all the pieces that are on that page, including, there's one, the next one down on that side. It wasn't on that page in Whitmire's book, but I got the number from the cranberry page.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the nice thing about the Whitmire book. You can get wear numbers, not necessarily your color, but you can look at all the other colors.
Right, there's one in that book that's mislabeled. I'm not sure what it is. This one's 1466, but in the book, it's something else, 1470, I don't remember, but it's mislabeled in the book. And I had to put the numbers on the bottom so I could get the right card in front of them.
Okay, any questions on the topaz? Yes.
Is the 8-inch vase there to the left of the 10.5 inch, was that one done for somebody else at a later time?
Which one?
That
The
one
8
there,
inch?
the 10.5.
That could
Or
be,
the
because
8.5.
that could be, because it's not on that page in the book. But I got the wear number from the cranberry page.
John, didn't you tell me that was one that was done at a later time? Is it?
There was about 4 or 5 shapes that they did in coin there in the late 50s, early 60s. And they are really hard to find. This is probably the hardest one right here to find. And then the 2 next to the 11-inch base is probably the other 2 that are really hard to find. In that area, there was some other one shapes that was done in bases. Whenever we went to do the book, of course, Linda Whitman was helping me with the book, and she collected cranberries, we were tearing our hair out, trying to figure out the where numbers according to go to which days, and find out whether we actually had all of them there at the time.
There's actually 2 of them up there that are the same number, but they look so different. I thought they both ought to be in there.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about last night about molds and how they can manipulate the piece after it comes out of the mold.
Is there a lamp in this color?
Well, you know, there's a font for a lamp.
There was last night, that's right, there's a font.
That's my lamp.
There's a
So,
font. Yep.
yeah, I thought about putting it up there too, but I decided
I was
last
wondering
night
if you
would be
found
better.
a big shade. A big top shade.
Oh,
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
If you ever see one, let me know.
We'll keep looking, for sure. Logos.
Wow, there are a bunch of them here. And these cover a wide time range. There are 2 on here that are from the 20s. They are what we call the original store display logos. Those are extremely difficult to find. It would be this blue opal and the topaz. Those are really, really difficult to find. There are a few out there, but when you see them, you better be carrying your big wallet, because those are tough. They've kind of done a nice job here of separating them. I think the ovals versus the squares, and you got your footballs and stuff. John, do you want to talk about this? Okay. All right. Well, John kind of primed me a little bit here. He said the ones in the back were done by Dave. They called him a special, or called him for the special glass, and he kind of swung those a little bit to get that effect on them. The bat, I think you said the bat was not his, or? No, it was his. Okay. Obviously he didn't swing that. That one he'd had to pull, and then the other one that's misshapen here. So. The etchings and the paintings, the sand carvings, just wow. There's a bunch of them. The little discs.
I had no idea they made the round beaded edge plate in so many colors.
Yeah, I didn't. Or the egg.
Were all the plates made for the Kansas City Club? I know that at least some of them were. Who responded? 4 of them were, Jackie?
Yeah.
Man,
Sorry,
Max
I'm
is
cheating.
Max is chatting up another girl.
At least he didn't say best kiss of the day.
Yes.
When I go home, I'm gonna be in trouble because my puppy dogs are gonna be like, hey, you've been cheating on us. So. Anything else?
Is there anything else we need to talk about the logos?
There's one here in the shape of the United States. I've never seen that one.
No, I've not seen that either.
You know, it's just, this is one of those tables where you're gonna stand and look.
And look again, and a third time.
Yes, because you're gonna see stuff that you didn't see the first couple of times.
Plus the original plastic
Yep.
store logo
And
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 the
the
tin
cardboard.
paper, or, yeah,
Yeah.
very nice.
Small, small world. Read it?
There's a few things I want to talk about.
But this is your opportunity.
This is only part of the collection, you do realize that. Let me see here where to start. I have a sample collection of the tie-dye from C.C. Hardman, and I have one of her samples on the Calico Cat. I have a Kelsey, the little foal there that's carved, and I have one of the cats over here that's carved. This is carved too, but I think it's an online, it's like 50 or 80 of 500 or something like that is online. I have no idea who made that, but it's a beautiful little piece. I started a collection with the four-leaf clovers. I still need some of those. This one is something I just started. It's a baby line. I have the booties, I have the horses, but I only have one of the caps, so I need the pink cap yet. Otherwise, I've got most of them. I've got two of all I've got. There's a few that I'm missing. The dragons are very hard to find. The dragons are really hard to find. The foxes were very hard to find. But
Tell us about the little teeny butterfly that's up on the top.
those came from, they were originally from the top of a lid
To the ticket box.
for the trinket boxes. And they molded them and sold them separately. I only have two of them, thanks to a good friend of mine. And the whales, I got one of the whales from Ellen, the blue Burmese, and I just got the Rosaline one. There's so much more left to collect, let me tell you. I have to find more room. Unfortunately, the house is little. So, that's my collection. If you have any questions, just ask. I couldn't tell you where I got them all, because I just picked them up everywhere. I think every antique from here to Arizona I've been in. So, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I love the sand carved cat. It's got a really unique design on it, and it's very beautiful.
Yeah, well, I'm a kind of a dog person, and I noticed a little nipper here that's got a natural pain to it. We call it nipper because they done that for RCA in Crystal. You'll see one a little later on. So a lot of people call it nipper because it was an RCA dog. It's amazing how many animals Fenton really created over the years.
And you have to realize I don't have everything.
Yeah, there's,
I don't know how you could collect every critter. I know some people trying. Yes, right over there.
yeah. Yep. Okay. Okay, and then some guy named Dave Fetty, have you ever heard of him?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
To me, some of the really interesting pieces are the three in the back that are from, actually, Dave done those down at Blanco. And I really like the water jug, the two spouted centerpiece there. That's their, what do they call
They
that?
call that color tangerine.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, I also follow a Blanco page on Facebook in addition to lots of other Fenton pages. And the Blanco about time.
It's about time.
This is my table, and Max is in my table. But I love these clocks, and got started with the black Fenton 100 Years clock. No, actually not. First one was the Chickadee clock, and I missed out on it at a big auction out east, and Max said to me as he was sitting next to me many, many, many years ago, before I ever had thought of dating them even. He said, I got one of those at home you can have for the same price that you wanted to bid on it. And so I wrote him a check that day, and he sent me the clock, and so that was my very first one, the Chickadee. My second one was the Black 100 Years, and it just kind of grew from there. They all live in one room, so none of them have batteries, because just one clock ticks very loudly, and I can't get them to tick in unison, so it's too noisy to have batteries.
Tim and I are
in them.
very grateful that the guest room does not have all the clocks with batteries. Trust me, yes, we'd never get an ounce of sleep.
No, the clocks live in their bedrooms, so. One of my very favorites is the RCA clock. And it's very simple. It's opal, and it's got Nipper listening to his master's voice. And I've got the little, Max had talked earlier about, you'd see the little crystal Nipper. The little crystal Nipper dog was made for RCA as well. Got a Louise Piper. This is interesting. Most of them do not have artwork on both the front and the back. She's got the highly decorated male pheasant on one side and the more subdued female pheasant on the other. And that better be here at the end of the day, Ellen. 2 Christmas series, one on one side and then the Birds of Winter on the other. Some advertising. To me, though, you're going to say, oh, that's not very interesting, but to me, one of the most interesting ones is this very plain black. It has the Fenton F in a vertical logo on the very front. Now, someone said maybe they put the clock in backwards. Okay, I can accept that. But that logo is right here on the front, and it's F in a vertical logo. So what does that tell us? Whose mold was this beforehand? I ran this through Glass ID at NFGS. George and Nancy didn't know. He said, I don't know where the mold came from. He looked through his database. He had his laptop at dinner. He looked through the laptop at dinner. He said, I don't know where it came from. I've looked through the database, trying to search back and forth, looked through the database. We can't figure out where this mold came from.
I've probably looked through 100 different books.
Yeah.
And the closest thing I found was Fostoria made a similar one,
Yep.
but it is definitely not the same.
Nope, it's
We
not.
just have not been able to find it. So if anybody knows anything about who originally had this clock mold,
We can't figure out who had the mold first for it to have the vertical F in the oval logo. So if anybody has any ideas, I would love to play tennis with you and talk about it. So, any questions about time? Excellent. Let's move
very,
on.
very nice. I do have a question, but it's not so much about time. It's about that little nipper dog. How many different colors did they make that guy? I rarely see him, and now I've seen a painted one and a crystal one.
The painted one and the crystal one are the only ones that I've seen.
Okay.
Has anybody else seen the nipper dog mold used in other colors, or?
Maybe Amanda, do you know anything about the nipper dog?
We only have the crystal one and seen the painted one.
Okay. Okay. I was just curious. I never see them out and about, and now both of them on tables here. That's awesome. Okay.
And that's the beauty of coming to table review and coming to see these display tables, because you see things that you normally do not see. You just don't see. Kind of like these logos.
It's the label table.
These are amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And this just strikes me. I love this. I want to turn every one of these into a refrigerator magnet or a car bumper sticker. And I want to be the glass geek with every one of these on the tail end of my car.
Well, see, I've seen these before.
Right, Karen?
And I'd like to take one of these ovals and put it on the front of the Ford. Just cover up that blue oval with a Fenton. And then everybody's going to go, where'd you get a Fenton car at? But, yeah, this is a lot of hard work to research and go back and find all of these different labels. She and I really like the labels, we like our original labels, and there's a couple here that, don't have. Got that one?
Oh, that one's gorgeous. The
Yeah,
old
the red.
Virginia glass. The very first.
The very first is one we
The
do not have.
very first. They're just amazing. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of gorgeous, gorgeous labels.
The first one, they don't know what color it was or anything, it's just, so that's sort of like an artist's interpretation of it.
Okay.
That's the one on the front left.
Yeah, this one right here.
So what exactly are they and what were they used for and why are they that big?
Well,
I don't understand.
Okay.
What they are.
Karen, do you want a microphone to talk
Yeah.
about them?
I'll take my.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, if you look at all the Glass ID books and stuff like that, they'll have history of Fenton labels, and it's, they're just this big and everything, and I thought it would be kind of cool to just make bigger ones and display them, so you could know this is what the first, they did them before they actually impressed them in the molds, right, in the 70s, when they started doing the Fenton logos in the base of the pieces. So I thought, I just wanted to do it because
Oh,
an
so
artist.
you created the larger versions from the.
Yeah, and it's just to make them, and we, at Randy's, we sold a Imperial collection, and they had a frame print, and it had all of the Imperial labels, and they're just this big, and I thought, oh, I want to do that with Fenton, but I want to do it so bigger, so people could see it, and that was always just for fun. And then Mr. Mazzell sent me the one that's on the placard. It says circa 1910. It was a paper label, and that was, they said, he thinks that's the earliest one. But anyway.
Thank you, I have no idea what.
I love being able to see all the detail, and you've made them big enough so that we can actually see them. When you have a piece with an original label, a lot of times they're about 3/4 of an inch, long. And, if you really want to see the detail, I'm taking off my glasses so my nearsightedness works, and using a magnifying glass. And here you've blown them up so that you can actually stand back behind the golden rope and still see them. And I think it's wonderful. I really appreciate you bringing this table to us.
And Karen has put the year or years, period of years, that the labels were used on these, and that is incredibly helpful. I'm actually going to come up and take some close-up pictures of some of these. This is really amazing. Very nice. And then I want to talk about the big yellow bowl, because I believe that was, is it Michael Lax? Is that a Lax design? Whose design was that? And I don't know very much about him and his work. I'm not very familiar with it, but I do know that Eric Weber with Emporium actually has that big mixing bowl mold, and he has had them made in a couple of different colors, and I know jade is one of the colors.
He has the big one, the little one, and the plate.
And the plate. Okay, the big one, the little one, and the plate. Do you know, Karen, how many colors this was done in at the factory? Even George didn't know. Okay, so that's a design that you'd look at and go, well, that's not Fenton. But it was. It was made at the factory, one of the designers that came in for a short period of time. And I don't believe it was a real good seller at that point in time.
It was done in French opalescent with rib optic and Jamestown blue. I don't know whether it was done in anything else.
French opalescent with rib optic. Oh, that would be pretty. And then Jamestown blue coming from John. Okay. Yep, I just want to talk about that bowl and point out that bowl to people that might not be familiar with that design.
They also said that they noted, George and Nancy also noted that it's rough like that because they don't believe the ingredients melted perfectly, and that's why it's.
Yes, it has a definite texture to the outside, it looks like, not the inside, but to the outside. almost a crackle, a real fine crackle type texture. Very, very different, very unique.
Yeah, I don't know whether they did it on the originals, but on the pieces I have of Eric's, half the bowl has the texture and the other half is smooth.
Interesting.
Which I thought was kind of weird, offbeat.
That is rather offbeat, yes.
So I can see them doing that because that was some of the type of stuff they did in the mid-mod deal there and everything.
Yes, yes. We will move on to the Louise Piper table. And this is an incredible collection of Fenton's fairy lights. Absolutely incredible. Louise Piper was the very first artist that painted for Fenton in the modern age. She started in about 1967, 68.
1968, she was art.
68.
April 1968.
Okay, April. Do you want to talk about Louise? Would the owner of the table like to talk about Louise? Come on up. You know your collection the best. You can tell us all the fun details about this.
I'm right quite a bit about it.
I can't tell you very much about Louise, but I can tell you about the fairy lights. The first one I looked up, we collected in 2002, and it was not until 2011 before we found another one. They're starting to come out in some of the auctions now, but you know, it's been very hard to find ones that she's painted. The ones you see that are dated, she dated those. And the ones down in front, she signed, but she did not. She seemed to like the birds, or I like her birds the best. And she liked cardinals, I think, probably the best. But she got into a little bit of working with Frit on some of the pieces. But I don't know what else to say.
That's enough. Thank you.
You
Thank you very much.
I'm not going to do it, but I could almost give a lecture really on the history of Louise Piper and what she did for the art department.
You should do a seminar on Louise Piper. You could, and you probably should, because then we can get it on tape, and then we have that history. Now that we've got someone who's taping things, which I think is fantastic. I've watched some of those videos out from the NFGS, and I don't typically go to the national conventions anymore, and to be able to have those out there is phenomenal. So thank you, Stephen, for doing the taping. Much appreciated.
And Louise really liked her roses. I think the rose was probably one of her signature designs, and even some of the painters today still do Louise's rose.
The one in particular, Frances Burton,
Yeah.
has absolutely exquisite roses, and Linda Fleming
Yeah.
is kind of following.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
also.
I've seen some of Linda's recent work, and yeah, you can tell who taught. So yeah, and she did do a lot of birds. I mean, obviously I get to look at the pheasant clock a lot, and her birds were really, really good.
In the first, there were two auctions that were held once she passed away. Her niece held them. The first was in Pennsylvania, and I went to that auction. And what I noticed was all of the Audubon bird books. So she really relied very heavily on the Audubon bird books. The other two pieces that she did a lot, the strawberries were her own, and of course the violets and the snow. But other artists at that time period would not dare copy her strawberries or her violets for that matter. They just thought that she would really be very angry. So you won't see anybody else doing the strawberries and the pansies at that particular time. Also, you'll find a lot of her pansy pieces that are not signed.
And you might say, well, gee, did she really do them? Probably she did, because she often went to the Fentons with signings and so on, and she would do demonstrations. And the frequent demonstration that she would do would be her pansies. And a lot of times she didn't have time to sign them. So if you find a pansy piece done in that time period, most likely she probably painted it.
Thank you, Ellen.
I've never seen Snoopy. I've never seen her in any painted Snoopies. Of course, me, I'm a dog person. I like that Snoopy. That's just really cool.
So they had a licensing problem with
Oh, I imagine the licensing would be an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also said that she always wore lace on her collars and her cuffs, and she said if you got paint on it, you wasn't doing it the right way.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard she was quite the pistol. Very opinionated. So, very nice. And one thing I really, really like, and we encourage this anytime we sell a fairy light, the LED lights on the inside, no real candles, LED lights, that's fantastic. And they work just great. Work just great. Okay. It's cold in here.
It is cold.
Yes, it is.
It's getting colder.
See, polar bears,
I
they're
feel
just
like
happy.
a polar bear.
Yeah. 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 So do we make fun of them and tell them that this table is unbearable?
Oh my goodness, Max.
Hey, she lives with us all the time. I've stood and looked at this table quite a bit, and a lot of this has to have been custom done.
About all of it.
About all of it? Okay. Okay, because this is the old Spock-eared set, and yeah, that they didn't do that kind of painting back then.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Are these all the same artists, or are they different artists?
No, so there's, we had CC do some, Linda Fleming, back when it was J.K. Spindler, Vicki Curran did several in there, artist Holly Lynn that worked with Ann and John's in there,
So
and probably somebody I'm missing.
So there's quite the variety. Stephanie?
Yeah, Stephanie did the painting.
Okay. I didn't realize she painted. That's pretty nice.
So Stephanie started painting during COVID.
Okay.
And she's done several paintings for us for Gold Bond Rescue and a couple for our house. And so I asked her to do that, and she's like, oh crap. But she gave it a whirl, and we just recently got it 4 months ago, 3 months ago. I think it's just fabulous. I think she just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, yeah.
As
Really.
all the artists did on all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's I've looked at a lot of this, and I really like the art. The sleigh and the deer, and somebody took that. I don't know who done the mini basket and put that kind of detail on that
And
little
there's
bitty
two.
thing.
That's the thing about those. Most all of them are continuous scenes.
Yeah.
So like you can pick up that base on the end and just turn it around, and it's got a continuous Arctic hunt scene on it.
Wow.
To the dog sled, the seals, the baby seals down underneath, to the it's.
And there's the ship.
And I wasn't. Well, I'm not very smart to start with, but I wasn't smart enough to bring a turning table or risers or stuff. But we appreciate all the artists that do the things for us, and it's just fun.
Who painted this one?
This
I can't.
Holly Lynn.
Holly Lynn? Okay.
Yep. And then the next Fat Green one back, we just got that from Vicki. Took her a year to do that one. And Lori doesn't like it because I like realistic. And the real life is that polar bears feed on seals. And we didn't have any with polar bears on the hunt. And so you can see the mama has a little stuff on her nose, and she got the seal to feed her cubs. And when Lori saw that, she's like, do we really have to have a dead seal on? I said, yeah, I kind of like it.
And let me clear, I've added the only part that I don't love.
I know, I get it. I said, she's like, we don't have to. But, you know, the artists, when they do them for me, they say, well, what do you want? I said, you know what? You're the artist. I just want something realistic. And so every time we get to see it when an artist brings it to us, it's a surprise to us too.
Who carved? Who did the carving on the two?
So the back two, those are Chris Carpenter.
They are
I know
Chris's.
you're talking.
Okay. Yeah, you better
You
take
know
a
how to
look.
use a mic.
The back two blue ones, you can pick one up if you want. Doesn't matter to me. Chris Carpenter did those, and she did the first one, and it cracked. So she did a second one, and we gave them both to us. The one in front, I believe, is production line, and that was a gift from Mike Soper. We had done a couple auctions for him, and he gave that to me as a gift. So that one will obviously go nowhere. And then some of the polar bears up front that Lori loves, so she has a little display at home called Let It Snow, and so she collects these little painted polar bears. The ones on the font, those don't go into the Let It Snow collection. Those stay with the polar bears. And the plates in the ginger jars. The lighthouse is continuous scene, that should be on a rotate. But yeah, again, we appreciate all the artists that do this for us because it's, yeah, look at that. Isn't that spectacular?
I like the heart-shaped silver crest dish down on the lower right. I love that dish with the mama bear with her cubs.
Yeah. I think that might be Anne's. Anne Fenton, I think, may have
That's
painted
gorgeous. It's very nice.
And I've had that ruby sleigh and reindeer for 15 years, just waiting for the right thing to do with it, other than display it with my red carnival that we have at home. And I thought, I think I'm going to have Vicki paint that. So she asked me, I just kind of gave her some stuff I wanted, and then she took it from there. And if you didn't look closely, the reindeer, you can pick that up if you want, has, not by the antlers. This is the one that has just flying geese flying with the reindeer. I thought that was so cool. But we, again, we let the artists do their thing. They have the image, they have the talent. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. And yes, again, the painting was by Stephanie Clark. Some of you probably are familiar with her. And then the one in the back, the Spindler, I don't remember, but I think that was sold here in 2011 at the benefit auction. And what actually got us started in polar bears was we met up with an artist in Zanesville. His name was Rick Weiscarver. He's a potter. And I would suspect that Karen and Cece know about Rick Weiscarver down there. He was a potter in Zanesville, Indian, true Indian. And he did some pottery for us and some paintings, and it just kind of evolved into this. Yes, so when you come to the house, if you ever spend a night, you can spend the night in the polar bear room, or the nautical room, or the red room, or the whatever room, so.
Red room? Really, Jim? Red room?
Yeah.
Red room.
Yeah. Imagination is great. The two things there that aren't Fenton, the Christmas trees are from Czechoslovakia, 1970. And this lady at Lori's Antique Center brought a couple in, and Lori fell in love with them and bought them. And then she bought a couple more. Then we went to Austria for vacation last year, and there they were. There was like 400 in one shop. She bought 32 of them, shipped them back, and then we came back, and we about 4 months later, just coming up to Christmas, and she's like, I wonder if they got some more of those. So we got online, and I called the guy, and he's like, yeah, so he sent me a link, and I think we bought another 30. So we have Christmas trees, and so they're just kind of neat accents. And the Santas with the polar bears, the one writing, if you pick him up, he's from 1909.
Oh my.
And if you pull his head off,
The bear or the Santa?
the bear, just pull his head off straight out. It was a candy container.
Wow.
I thought you were kidding. No seals.
And no seals.
No
No.
No seals.
But he does have an empty belly. He's hungry.
Fill it with
Watch
gummy-
out, Santa.
Fill it with gummy bears.
And then the other Santa behind, we actually picked that up on the way here. We bought it almost a year ago, but we didn't want it shipped. That one's from 1911-ish. And if you just tap his head, he is original, yeah, they call them nodders. They don't call them bobbleheads. They have springs in them. So that's a bobble, or a nodder. And, yeah, so those two are probably worth more than everything on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, that's it. Is what it is.
Very nice, thank you for speaking. Thank you, Jim.
I actually,
Anybody have any
somebody
questions?
just gave me one with a Coca-Cola.
Really?
Yeah.
If not, I guess this concludes our part of it. Tom, do you need to say anything?
Well, appreciate you guys doing the follow through on the glass, and appreciate like